Welcome to Comet Computer Private Limited, e-learning program of implementing and administering networking technologies. So we are going to see about securing routers with passwords. So last session we have seen about the basics of router and router basic commands like setting up the host name, IP address, interface details, and a set of show commands. So all those commands we have seen. So that is one level of preparation of the router. Now, as a part of security administration, security restrictions, and based on the guidelines from the security team, we have to protect the routers with the password. So there are standard passwords available from the manufacturer, and we have to follow the standards, what is mentioned in the password policy of the organization. So let us see what are the different passwords available, and we can also see the practical on how to set the passwords for the routers. So these are the standard passwords available. Apart from that, we'll be having our domain credentials for the users who log in. But in router, so these are all the various passwords what we can set. So we'll be seeing one by one. So enable secret password, console password, telnet password, which is also called as VTY terminal password, and auxiliary password. So in the starting of the router itself, you want to protect, we can use this kind of password, so we can block them level by level. We can block something like for entering into the router, you have to enter the console password, and getting into the next level privilege mode, you have to enter another password, right? While accessing the router via terminal session, you need to enter a telnet password. So these are the various methods of blocking the access for unauthorized users. And also we have to ensure that we are not writing the passwords in the notebooks or in the pads, or storing in the notepad. So that is not recommended, or that is not advised. The security team will be doing the audit, work area, personal diary, mobile phones. They'll just keep on searching the credentials. So if we store, no, that becomes a non-compliance for the security team. So they'll raise a non-compliance for us, and we have to follow with the security team and remediating the action item. So we should not write it on the boards or keep a copy of it, but we have to remember what is the password we are having that in the device. So enable password. Once this password is enabled, when you wanted to enter into the privilege mode, so it will be prompting for a password. So when you are entering the password, entering the session, it will ask for a password, so you have to enter the password. But here the password is provided in the global configuration mode, because that is a global settings for the router. Once I give a password, it is going to impact the entire router. So I have to give it in the enable global configuration mode. And the command for the password is enable password, and you can type the password what you wanted. Okay. So then you have to copy the command. So this password is helpful for allowing you or disallowing you based on the password you are entering. So it is blocking in the first level itself, that is the privilege mode. So if we enter into the privilege mode only, you can run at least some of the authorized commands for the router. So if you are not aware of the privilege mode password, then you'll be in the user execute mode. Very, very basic things only you can do in that basic execute mode. Even if you log into the router, you cannot perform any other advanced commands or advanced options into it. Not even you cannot copy the content of start running configuration, startup configuration. Nothing you can do it. Then second is the enable secret password. Enabling secret password is very simple, and you have to use a command in the global configuration mode. Enable space secret. Enable password you have to enter. So that will be a standard one which you have to follow as per the organization standard. So then you copy the password information. So I told in the initial session. So I'm intentionally mentioning the copy command in all the uh, operation related commands, because it has to get registered in your memory that each and every operation requires a copy process to be executed. Otherwise, you'll be losing the data if there is any reboot. Unfortunately, any reboot is happening. So here First one is the enable password. Second is enable secret password. Both seems to be same requirement. Okay, so for entering into the privilege mode, you are going to enter the password. So when both the passwords are there, which password will get precedence, right? So, and the other question will be, um, this password is encrypted or not? Okay, because if it is not encrypted, you can see the password right in the screen itself. You can see. I will show you what is the password you are setting and what is that you are seeing in the screen. You can just see it, and we have the options to protect that also. Okay, we have a loophole, but we have commands for correcting those loopholes. So when two passwords are there, first point you need to remember is enable secret password is encrypted by default. You need not perform any encryption command. Whenever you set a password, it is getting encrypted by default. So you cannot decrypt it. And second one is when both the passwords are applied, only enable secret take the precedence. So other enable password will be just kept idle. So you need not give at all. If at all you are planning to give enable secret, you need not give enable password. Okay. But some companies they don't want to include the password. They want it to be in plain text. So they will not go for enable secret password. They will stop with enable password itself. So you can decide whether you wanted security or not. Okay, that is up to you. Based on the company standard, you can go for it. Third is the console password. This password is for the console in the sense when you want to enter in the router, you are going to type the IP address or you are going to connect the laptop to the console and getting connected to the router. So normally people will think that if I connect the laptop to the router console, I will have a full access and I can enter without password. So that is not true. To make that is false statement, we have the console password. So once I set the password, even if you connect your router with the help of a console cable, and enter into the command mode. So this console password is very much required, important for routers. So we'll go to um, configure terminal, the global session, and we have to enter into the line console, and we have to use the command login. So if you give a password without login, it will not work. We have to use this command first, and then only we have to type a password. Command is password, and you can type whatever password you wanted. So that is up to the standards of organization. So we can save the configuration, and after you exit, um, whenever you enter router, that itself will prompt for a password. The fourth password is V2A password or Telnet password. Um, so here anybody is using Telnet command to log into the router, so they will have to provide this password, and um, the command uses line VTY. Like after entering the global configuration mode, we have to enter the line virtual session. Like line console, we used it, right? The same way we can use line VTY. It will have maximum 15 sessions based on the router. You can find out line VTY, put a question mark. You will get a number of sessions, but normally we limit the remote sessions for safety purpose or security purpose. So we have to provide it, and we have to log in here, then password. So if you want to cancel that password option, you can just give no login command, and telnet will go as a plain. So we need to ensure that we protect the telnet sessions by giving the password. So the drawback of telnet session is the passwords will be in the plain text mode, so people can see if somebody is intruding your network, they can see what is the password you are entering. That's the reason they will not recommend any telnet session for the routers. We have to go for a SSH session. We have to enable SSH in the router, and then we can use that session for login. That is the encrypted remote session for the routers. So while using the putty, you can just use the SSH session for the routers. So for that, we need to enable the SSH in the router side. Then it will allow you for entering the SSH command. But now in the beginning stage, we'll learn about VTP password, how it works. So we'll move on to auxiliary password. So this is for auxiliary port where we are going to limit it for the auxiliary connections through modem. If anybody is connecting, so they can use this port. Um, so you'll follow the same thing, like go to the global configuration mode, type Linux 0, the first port, then log in, then enter the password as password and password. The in phrases password can be anything as per your standard you can use. Then you have to type the command login and copy the passwords. So as we see, out of that 5 passwords, only enable secret password is a encrypted one by default. So I can show you that in the configuration stage. So enable secret password is a encrypted one. Rest of all the passwords are plain passwords. So you can see what is the password you are given. If you go and see in the running configurations, that will be shown clearly. So to encrypt all the passwords available, that is actually required, right? So we have to run a command called service password encryption. So this will encrypt all the passwords. Simple. Once I run this command, so the router will check how many passwords are available. It will encrypt all the passwords. Okay. So that is a simple command. And in CCNA exam, they'll ask, what is the command used for encrypting all the passwords? So you have to remember it. Service password hyphen encryption. So that is one standard available. If at all you want to cancel the encryption for all the passwords, just add no. Okay, so the same global configuration mode, type no space, same command service password encryption. It will remove the encryption. But the thing is that um, after encryption, even if you are removing the encryption from the console, you cannot see the password because it is already encrypted. You cannot decrypt. The reversing command will not decrypt the password. Okay, so it will be remaining same until otherwise we delete the old password and provide the new password. So it will not show you what is the password we used for um, the system, particular server or particular router. That is the service password encryption. So now what we can do is we'll proceed with the practical session. So I have the setup available. So what we can do, we'll take the router and we'll try um, having all the passwords in the router. So first we'll see show running configuration. So just now we saw service password encryption. So here it says no. It means this router is not enabled with service password encryption. This router is already enabled with password, but it doesn't have a console password or doesn't have a V2A password as of now. Okay, so it has only console password, enable password. It has only enable password, and enable secret is also not there. Fine. So what we can do is we'll first remove the password available. Um, okay, I'm just removing the configuration. Now I don't have any passwords. Okay, so this is a router already available. So I'm just checking any other passwords provided into it. Um, as of now, it is not prompting any passwords. So we can just try once again. So this is the user execute mode. For entering into the privilege mode, I am typing the command enable. It is not asking for any password. Okay. There is no console password. There is no enable or enable secret password available. So we have to go for entering the passwords for the router. So now we'll go with the enable password first. Conft enable password. So I'll go with commit. Okay, and followed by I am also enable secret um, Cisco. So I'm giving two passwords. So two passwords are provided. Um, just coming. So now we are in the privilege mode. Copy, run to start. Okay. Now if I see show run, so we have enabled password comment. Okay, it is shown as a plain text, so I can see what is the password available. For enable secret, what is the password I gave? Remember, we gave Cisco as a secret password, but I'm not able to see what is the password written here. It is an encrypted one, so we don't see the password. Now we'll try logging into the router. I just put exit. Okay, till now we have not set the console password, so it is not prompting for the console session. Now I'm trying to put enable command. It is prompting for the password. So when I have two passwords, enable password and enable secret, which one is taking precedence? I told it is enable secret, right? So for testing purpose, what I'm doing, I'm going to provide a enable password, which I gave is a comet, COMET. You cannot find it, but I'm just typing comet, COMET. Obviously, it is not allowing. So I'm just typing a password, Cisco. It is case sensitive. So if it is small c, small I, small s, follow with the small standard. Otherwise, you ask what you are setting, the same password you have to provide here. Okay, now it has allowed me to enter into the privilege mode. Now I'm going to configuration mode. So here we are going to configure the global password. Okay, so global password we have to configure it. So what I'm going to do, line console 0. So it's a console session. So I'm just entering line console and then login. Okay. So login is disabled on line 0 until password is set. Okay. Since this is the first time, right? So without password, it will not accept login. Anyway, no problem. So what we'll do, we'll set the password first. Password space. Since this is a console session, I give console as a password. Okay. Normally, if we give any jumble character, we get forget. So that's the reason we provide a simple password here in the test lab. But real time, it should be alpha numerals, capital, small, then special characters, all those stuff. Password. Okay, now if I try login, it works. So you understood, right? So without password, if I cannot go for any login. Okay, default login, it'll block me. So I have entered login and just saved it. So I've provided a password, right? Login password. Okay, done. So I can just type, just seeing whether I'm able to get the uh, password. Okay, so login, execute timeout, password is console. This is the password I gave for console session. The password is console. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, copy, um, run to start. Done. Now I'm going to exit. Okay, so if I press enter, I'm getting the authentication. Okay, now before going to the user mode itself, it is prompting for the authentication. So what I can do, console password is console. That's it. So if even if you know the console password, you don't know what is the privilege mode password, what you can do? Nothing you can do, right? So I am into the um, privilege mode. So conf t. Okay. So we can configure the telnet session. We can find out whether telnet is working or not. I just type show run to find out whether any IP address is configured. So Ethernet interface 0/0, maybe this is the Ethernet interface connected to the switch, and the IP address is 192.168.1.1. Here the desktop is 192.168.1.3. Let us check the desktop. In the packet tracer, when you click desktop, you'll get this option. Get the um, command mode. So type ipconfig. So I can see 192.168.1.3. If you want to change the IP address, you can change manually or you can go to graphical. So this is for the gateway, and this is for the interface level IP address in the desktop. So this is configured with IP version 6 also, but we are getting details on IP version 4. Okay. So now if I type ipconfig, I'm getting this detail. So IP version 6, IP version 4. So from here I have to do the telnet of my router. So router is 1.1. So telnet 192.168. So it should be 92.168.0.1. So typo. Connection timeout, remote host not responding because there is no telnet option enabled in the router. So the remote host obviously it will not respond. Okay. So now we'll have to see whether we're doing good. So now we have to provide a password. Fourth password is a line VTY password. So to enter into the line VTY, same thing, conf t line VTY. So I'm just putting the question mark to find out how many options are available. Now we have options up to 15. Some routers are limited with 0. So some are maximum given as 50. So now we have the option whether I can take 0 to 15 test sessions or 0 to 5 sessions. Line VTY 0 to 5. Okay. And again, if I directly go anything, it will ask for password. So I like password is telnet. Password is telnet because it is a V2A session. I'm just giving the password as a telnet. So now the device will be taking the enable mode. Then we have to enter the global configuration mode. And now we have to enter the password. Password for V2A session. So we'll enter into line VTY. So as I said, if you put question mark, you get 15 sessions. So line VTY. Now I go with line 0 standard numbers 04. Now I have to use the command login. Okay, then only it will allow me to log in, and then password telnet. Okay, simple. See, this is not the password I'm going to have it in my live router, but for practice purpose, I use this kind of simple passwords. Okay, now put Control Z, you will come out. Then copy, run to start. Okay, so save the configurations. You want to verify the configuration once. Show run. You have enable password, enable secret password. Okay, and you have a line gateway password. So line console password is set as console, and now line video password is also set. So it is telnet. Now I'll go to this computer. I'll type the telnet command. So it is prompting for the password. So here I have to give the telnet password. I cannot give the console password. So telnet password we created as telnet. Um, okay. So again, if I enter, it is asking enable secret password. Okay. So once I enter into the user mode, it will assume that I am locally logging in. So I'll have to give the secret password. Okay, Cisco. So from the desktop, you're seeing that PC3, right? From the desktop, I'm via switch, I'm able to take a telnet of the router. So this is same possible. Even if I want to take the remote of this router, I can take this router I can take, provided I should enable the telnet session for this IP address, this router. So across the globe, this is how we are taking remote of the devices. But in the real time, I don't prefer the telnet as it is following the plain text format of authentications. So we go for SSH, but we limit here ourselves here with telnet session as per the CCNA syllabus. But in real time, I prefer to go with the SSH connections. Okay, so I can just exit. That's it. I just come out of the router. Now, what I'm going to do is in the router, I'll just remove the login option. So I will try to remove the login option and see what happens. 0 to 4. I type no login, right? Just typing exit, exit. Okay, copy, run to start. So this is the command I used for saving the configuration. For saving the time, we can just use the command write. Okay, or WR. So two letters is fine. It will directly write the configuration. So the configurations are saved now. So now from the session, so telnet 192.168.1.1. The session is open now. It means that the telnet password, whatever I set, it is not working because I removed the login option. I just typed no login in the router command. So because of which I am able to connect to the router without the password. This is more risky. Uh, Telnet session itself is a plain text format, so that is a unsafe session. And if you are not giving the password, that is even more risky. So if I type the command enable password, password is Cisco show run. I'll just see the command itself here. Okay, so telnet session console. Okay, telnet. So see here for 0 to 4, it is mentioned as no login. So this is the reason. So we have to always provide the login option for the V2A sessions. So let us exit from this. Okay, now we'll move on to the other option like encrypting all the passwords. Now, if you are seeing a show run, right? Show run, you are seeing only enable secret password is encrypted, and the command no service password encryption is provided, and we have Comet. We can see what is the password as Comet, and console side password is console. Okay, so this is not good configuration. So what we have to do, we have to go for global configuration mode. We just enable service password encryption. That's it. Type exit. Okay, now console password is um, console, enable password Cisco, CISCO. Okay, we have to be very careful in typing the characters and show run. Okay, see, enable password is a plain password that is encrypted now, and service password encryption is enabled. It is not having no, right? And see, console password, it is also encrypted, and V2A password is also encrypted. So this is the best option for encrypting all the passwords. This is mandatory command for Cisco routers. So if I'm going to reverse the command, right, conf t no service password encryption, will I get my commands back, my password visibility back? You want to check? So if I put no service password encryption, I can see show run. I can see no password encryption is coming back again, but I'm not getting my password. I had my enable password as plain format as Comet. That is not coming back, right? And the console password, it is still encrypted. It means that even if you remove that password option, service password encryption option, once it is encrypted, it is encrypted. So can I see it again? No. You have to delete it and you have to type it again. Let it be no. So if it is encrypted form, it is safe for you only, right? So it will work as if it is whatever you set, it will work. For example, now what is the console password I had? It is console. Okay, enable password. It is Cisco. All passwords will work, but only thing is you cannot um, get the password in the text format in running configurations. That is the only thing. Okay, that is about setting up the password encryption, securing the router. No, this is a kind of one level of securing. We have other levels also, but in the initial stage, this is almost we are protecting our router in the initial configuration, and now the router is good to connect with the production setup, and then further configurations we can get it, and we can load the configurations, right? So hope this is clear in configuring the router with the basic security parameters, right? Yeah. Thank you very much.